Now tuned into the greatest.
So when that bag come, I won't fumble. I'm just stacking on the low, but hey, I'm tired of being humble. Let me get to it. That motivation music. Get control of your life, don't let nobody else do it. Cause when I gon' have matching S550s cruising. Feel like you winning on the ground, but he really.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. All the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. Now, I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like, you dislike, or you just want to hit us up and leave a quick take, do that. Hit us up, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will play your take back on our next episode. And then shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off of your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. Now, this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I don't know about you, but you better go to one of these basketball games. If you got it like that, go to one of these NFL playoff games. Baseball going to be coming around the corner soon. Concerts, all of these different things that's happening in your city, outside of your city. You better go use this promo code, create the account, save yourself $20 on that ticket purchase. Now, something that I will not be saving is my feelings for the Atlanta Falcons hire. Obviously, a lot of people know right now it's a crazy conversation. The Falcons just hired head coach Kevin Stefanski. Crazy. So the Atlanta Falcons hired former Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski. Now, this was initially, if you've been listening, if you've been following for some time, this was the one person I literally did not want. I wanted to stay away from Kevin Stefanski. I thought Kevin Stefanski, and I still think Kevin Stefanski is fool's gold in a little bit, in a sense, because I say he's fool's gold because people blame the Browns. Yeah, the Browns organization didn't do a good job at, bringing pieces for him to thrive with and all of these other things. Two-time coach of the year. We hear a lot of different pieces about it, but I'm just not convinced on anything positive that he's doing statistically. Like the win percentage is very low. And there's a lot of other factors, but I've been going on and on for weeks about why Stefanski isn't good. So you'll have to just scroll through the IG, the other episodes, the TikToks, all of those. You just got to go back and listen to it. I kind of want to look at some positivity because we don't have a choice but to believe in Stefanski at this point. So although I think that Stefanski wasn't the best hire and I thought there was other routes we could have went, at this point, we got to deal with it. I mean, it ain't no all this complaining and stuff. It's only going to get us so far. We got to, at this point, just trust Stefanski, hope he does a really good job, hope we're wrong about everything that he was doing in Cleveland, hope we're wrong about him being a fraudulent coach, being fool's gold, all of these crazy narratives that we have for why Stefanski shouldn't have been the coach in Atlanta. At this point, we got to trust Matt Ryan's pick, and we got to hope that Stefanski is actually pans out to be a good coach. Other than that, complaining ain't going to do nothing. So that's first things first. You got to just, at this point, we're done. They're not reneging on the hiring. They're not doing none of that. Matt Ryan picked his guy. That's who he wanted. So now we got to trust that this is Matt Ryan, Atlanta Falcon legend, and he didn't make the right decision. Now, I'm a little worried about it, but I have some information that could clarify, and that might even be able to give us some hope with Kevin Stefanski and what he might be able to do with the Atlanta Falcons. I'm hoping we get playoffs and so on and so on and so on, and maybe even dynasties down the line. But again, this is me being wishful thinking. This is me trying to flip the script to be a little bit positive because all we see right now is negativity with Kevin Stefanski. And I contributed to that because this was not a guy who I wanted as my head coach. But at this point, we're in the thick of it like Kyle Lowry. Anyway, some of the things here. So I'm hoping Kevin Stefanski is really not as bad as everyone is hyping up, including myself. I know a lot of statistics don't really side with Stefanski in his tenure with the Browns. However, if the Browns were actually the problem, like a lot of people claim they were with the front office and ownership and things like that, maybe this could be great for Atlanta Falcons fans. And hear me out, because during Stefanski's time with the Cleveland Browns, of all Cleveland head coaches since 1991, Stefanski has the second highest win-loss percentage. The only one in front of Stefanski is the legendary Bill Belichick. So this does give me a little confidence that, okay, he was able to win with the Browns. Bill Belichick was able to win with the Browns, which is an incredibly difficult thing to do. So this did give me a little confidence. However, Stefanski had the fourth highest win percentage in a 60-year time span with the Cleveland Browns of all head coaches in franchise history. Another good thing for the Cleveland Browns, if it is just the Browns. And then Stefanski's the first Browns head coach to make it 5 seasons since Bill Belichick. So we hear a lot of history with Bill Belichick and things like this. And let's not forget, obviously, Stefanski helped the Browns get to the playoffs for the first time in 18 years for a long time. So, there's a lot of give and take, and there's a lot of things where if the Browns were truly the problem here, then maybe the Falcons did strike gold. Maybe this is a good thing because Stefanski for the Falcons is also making history, and he hasn't even done anything yet. But with the Falcons hiring Stefanski, he became the first head coach hire with at least 1 season of prior head coaching experience since 1994. So the last was Dan Reeves. This is a good thing. And I look at certain statistics like, Stefanski being the first hire with prior head coaching experience for at least 1 season. It's a good thing because we've taken risk on guys who we thought were going to be good as a head coach, or he's good defensively, he's good offensively. Let's give him the opportunity to be a first-year head coach. And it hasn't worked out for us in a very long time. A very long time. So now that we're trying to get a guy with prior coaching experience, I'm okay with that. I still think Brian Flores would have been a better hire personally, but I mean, hey, it is what it is. That's out the window. And if Stefanski's a good coach, like everyone has said and anticipated, and everyone with the Cleveland Browns, their fan base is saying he was good, but it was ownership, then maybe I just got to believe that. Maybe I just got to believe that it is just the Browns. Nobody ever really thrives with the Browns. And honestly, the fact that Stefanski even took the Browns to the playoffs, the Cleveland Browns we're talking about, it does count for something. It does count for something. Like him just getting to the playoffs. I know he won 1 playoff game, but him getting to the playoffs multiple times during his 5-year time span there does say a lot because this is the Cleveland Browns we're talking about. It does say a lot. That's almost like if Aaron Glenn were to take the New York Jets to the playoffs and actually win a playoff game. That's pretty good. That's a huge turnaround for a team with no history in terms of winning. So, some of these things I look at the statistics and I'm really hoping that Stefanski is going to be opposite of everything I've said over the past 3 weeks when we were looking at other candidates. I'm hoping that I was wrong about Stefanski as a head coach. I'm looking at the stats of, being one of the most winningest Cleveland Brown head coaches during a 5-year time span and being behind Bill Belichick in the win percentage and all of these sort of stats. And it does give me a little hope that maybe we can make something happen with the Atlanta Falcons since the Falcons have a lot more weapons than the Cleveland Browns had. Because I'll tell you what, making it to the playoffs with the Cleveland Browns counts for a lot. This is something Bill Belichick wasn't even able to do. And this is something that like a lot of great coaches who've been with the Browns prior were not able to do. So for him to be able to take them there and get to the playoffs, it does say a lot, especially when they didn't have a lot of talent. And then now I see him going with the Falcons as with culture or with prior coaching experience. This gives me a lot of comfort. It truly does, because I'm looking at this like, okay, at least this guy is going to be okay with his clock management. Like, I know it was a lot of drama going on in Cleveland. They were a talk of the town for the first 7 weeks of football about who's the quarterback and what they're doing bad, what they're doing good. The offense is this, the offense is that. I get all the conversations about that when Stefanski was in Cleveland. However, they did have a lack of talent. That's something that is true. Like, although there's not winning percentages and statistics to back it up, they did not have a huge amount of talent, especially even just compared to the Atlanta Falcons of what they have with Bijan and Drake London, Kyle Pitts. Like, there's definitely a clear difference there. So I'm hoping it'll be some sort of difference now that he's the head coach in Atlanta. I'm ultimately still not on the side of Stefanski. I still don't really like the hire. The only thing I can say about Stefanski that I'm glad the Falcons did pick him for is the fact that he has that prior coaching experience. Because a lot of guys didn't have that we hired. I mean, one of the main guys that I wanted Clint Kubiak, he didn't have that prior coaching experience. So this is something where in a way it could have been a risk, because who's to say he starts his first coaching job with the Atlanta Falcons and then all of a sudden he's not good. He's not cooking up like we thought. So it could have went either way. But, you know, I think also another aspect to a lot of people getting upset about Stefanski being the head coach. One of the things we got to kind of consider here is it was clear that Matt Ryan, he released a statement and, you know, it went public that Matt Ryan clearly wanted someone with prior coaching experience. And looking at it and realizing that we haven't had a head coach with prior head coaching experience since 1994, Dan Reeves, I can be on board with that. I agree. This is something that's very different from what we've done over the last decade, bringing in a head coach with actual experience. So that part gives me a little confidence to trust Matt Ryan and his ability to find the right guy. Now, when I'm looking at other options of who we could have possibly grabbed with coaching experience, it's not that many others out there. Obviously, Sean McDermott got fired just a couple days ago. So, you know, actually today he got fired. So it was no way we could have possibly cooked up for him going to Atlanta. And who's to say he would have even wanted to go to Atlanta with the team there? Mike McDaniel, we don't know if he would have wanted to go to Atlanta. Maybe that wasn't a team that's on his radar. He's been looking at offensive coordinator positions, at other head coaching positions as well. So we just don't know. And outside of those two guys who have the actual head coaching experience, it's Brian Flores. And I like Brian Flores, but he just so happened to not be the guy that the Falcons wanted to interview and bring on board. So, you know, there's not many other candidates that significantly wow us in terms of having that actual coaching experience. So outside of Mike McDaniel, I don't really have a favorite, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with this Falcons team, man. All I know is Stefanski must love some trauma, because going from one broken franchise to another, hopefully he shows us he's a full magician and he's really that guy and he's not fool's gold. I would love that if he came to Atlanta and was able to take the Falcons to the playoffs and actually win some playoff games and, you know, actually be able to utilize the talent that's there. And above all, I really hope that Stefanski shows us that it truly was the Cleveland Browns organization and the ownership and the front office, the GM. I truly hope he shows us that it was the Browns as a whole rather than him and his ability to coach a team. So I don't know, man. But at this point, we just got to hope for the best. We got to hope that Stefanski does a good job, because that 5-year contract ain't going nowhere anytime soon. And man, it's scary out here. It's real scary. So we'll see. Other than that, we got some more stuff too. You know, we got a lot of games from the divisional round of the NFL. So we'll recap some of those games. And, you know, a lot of my last message to the Falcons fans too. Something just made me think of this. Last message to the Falcons fans. Man, y'all can't keep doing this, man. The Falcons fan base is so divided in terms of who likes Stefanski, who doesn't, who's in the middle, whatever. I don't like Stefanski as a head coach, but we don't have any choice but to support him at this point. Like, complaining won't do anything. And for everybody who's like, oh, well, you bringing a guy who disrespected Shedeur Sanders into Deion Sanders' home, pretty much. Like, to everybody saying silly stuff like that, it's a stretch, man. It's a reach. You're looking at it just, I don't even know why you're speaking on a topic. If that's your main complaint with Stefanski is, oh, well, Shedeur, he did Shedeur bold. He didn't praise Shedeur in certain moments. He took him out in the game. I know it was some dumb, questionable decisions that he made when Shedeur was on the field and when he wasn't on the field. I understand that part. But if you're gonna hold that grudge, it's pretty silly to say that, oh, well, give us Shedeur Sanders. We didn't want Stefanski. I ain't gonna lie. I wouldn't take Shedeur Sanders over Michael Penix Jr. Absolutely not. From what I've seen with Michael Penix when he's healthy, absolutely not. I'm good. I'm sorry. So to me, it's a little crazy, and it's definitely a stretch when we see people complaining about, oh, well, he disrespected Shedeur, and now he's in Atlanta with a majority of black fans. I get it and all, but that's a stretch, man. Come on, man. It's a stretch. It's really a reach, and that's stuff where it's not any hard evidence on him being good, him being bad. It's a stretch. It's a stretch. I'll leave it at that. Other than that, man, look, we got some more stuff coming up, so don't go anywhere. It is halftime. All right, man, let's get into it. Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. I appreciate you for tuning in. Hit us up on a voicemail line, 219-413-9405. And of course, we'll play your take back on our next episode. Just kind of want to give you guys an update on the NFL divisional round, some crazy matchups there, and also some new head coaching positions are available. Some new head coaching positions are filled. So let's recap on all of these head coach openings and the jobs that have been filled. Now, we have a lot of head coach openings in the NFL. There's got to be some sort of record of the amount of changes that's happened. So most recently, the team that needs a new head coach right now, and this happened today, Buffalo Bills fired Sean McDermott. So the Bills, they just recently lost to the Broncos in the divisional round, and a day later, they fired head coach Sean McDermott. So now the Buffalo Bills need a head coach. The Miami Dolphins need a head coach. The Baltimore Ravens need a head coach. The Arizona Cardinals need a head coach. The Tennessee Titans need a head coach. The Cleveland Browns need a head coach. And the Las Vegas Raiders need a head coach. So it's a lot of teams going on it's a lot of teams that need a head coach in the NFL right now. So it's very, very shocking. So some of the coaches that have filled the position in the NFL right now, Giants, they hired John Harbaugh, who was fired by the Baltimore Ravens. The Atlanta Falcons recently hired Kevin Stefanski, who was fired by the Cleveland Browns. And as of right now, that's it. Those are the only coaches those are the only teams with head coach slots that have been filled. We still have, 7 slots to be filled in the NFL for head coaches. So it's a lot of teams that's going to look different, and a lot of coaches that's going to have to prove themselves with some of these teams, because some of these locations aren't really desirable. At this point, the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills are probably the most desirable positions. And outside of that, I don't see many other places that you can go to win right now if you're a head coach. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out with the rest of the offseason for some teams and the rest of this postseason for a lot of teams who are still competing. So we'll see. But anyway, let's recap some of the division games, because these division games were nuts, man. So one of the first games in the divisional round here was the Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos. Now, this game here was crazy. The Denver Broncos ended up winning this ball game 33-30, and it was monumental. So we've seen, from what I've seen, so in this game here, the Bills, they look just like the Bills we've seen all game. This was, or all season. The Buffalo Bills in this matchup against the Broncos look like the Buffalo Bills we've seen all year. Winning game, or they didn't win, obviously, but playing these games, keeping it competitive while making multiple mistakes after mistake. Like, I've seen them do this where they have these silly plays. Josh Allen is up and down throughout the game, but yet they still find a way to win. It just so happened that in this divisional game against a great Denver Broncos defense, they were not able to capitalize and win the ball game. They came close, but they did not win. You can't win these type of games when you have multiple turnovers like this. Josh Allen had 2 interceptions. That was nasty. Like, it was just some of these things. They had some fumbles. Josh Allen had fun. It was nasty, man. It was a sloppy game for the Denver Broncos, and sloppy game for the Buffalo Bills. I'm sorry. And credit to the Denver Broncos for capitalizing and making sure they won this game. I think now, witnessing this game, a lot of us can honestly say that Bo Nix is somewhat of an elite quarterback, and I don't think it's a debate about it. We've seen him all season. He's played consistent, and now in this playoff game, he's been pretty consistent. He did have an interception, but ultimately, he still almost threw for 300 yards and had 3 touchdown passes. So I look at what Bo Nix was out there doing, and this man was balling. He played solid. He kept his composure. He didn't get rattled when there was pressure. Like, I liked what I seen out of the Denver Broncos, and also, too, that defense. That defense has been a problem all year long, and we've seen them come alive and win this ball game. The only suck part about this Broncos and Buffalo Bills game is the fact that Bo Nix is hurt. So if you haven't heard yet, Bo Nix finished the game with a fractured ankle or sprained ankle. Either way, he's going to be done for the year. So now the Denver Broncos will have to rely on the backup quarterback to step in and win this conference championship and send them to the Super Bowl. So crazy there. And for those who are wondering who the backup quarterback is, I can actually find that for you. So the backup quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Let me see here. It's going to be, I don't really know how to pronounce his name. Jarrett Stidham. I think that is it. Jarrett Stidham, but came from Auburn. And he's got some time in preseason and like times where Bo Nix wasn't there. But we'll see what happens, man. It'll be interesting to see how the rest of this goes down. Other than that, man, it was a great game between the Denver Broncos and the Buffalo Bills. Above all, I did kind of want the Bills to win, but I just knew you weren't going to be able to play around with that Broncos team, man. That's a good team there. Other than that, look, so the game the game Saturday outside of the Bills and them was the Seattle Seahawks and the 49ers. Good gracious. 49ers, I know they were hurt. All right, hear me clear. I know the 49ers were hurt. Like, I get it. They didn't have a George Kittle. They had a lot of missing receivers. They've been hurt all year. They lost some linemen. They lost a lot of people on defense. I get it, man. 49ers been hurt. But damn, 41-6? You let the Seahawks smack you 41-6? Oh my gosh. 6 points is all you could get up. I'm going to just leave it at I have nothing else to say. That game, that shows you how that game went. That's how that game went. 41-6. The Seahawks smacked them. So now the Seahawks is going to the conference championship game in the NFC, and they will take on the winner of the Rams and the Bears, which I'll say at this point, we'll explain. Patriots and the Texans was the first game on Sunday, and Patriots ended up smacking the Texans. And I just got to say, man, it was kind of a boring game. CJ Stroud. Okay, so Texans and Patriots, this game was kind of a boring game. But oddly enough, CJ Stroud is the one that made this game the most entertaining because he continued to fucking throw pick after pick, man. Like, I can't believe it. We gonna have to have some serious conversations about CJ Stroud in a minute because this performance and the performance he's been having all week has been very, very bad. And I know his offensive line isn't always there and giving him the best protection. And honestly, the offensive line is really bad at times. But damn it, 4 interceptions in a playoff game that can send you to the conference championship, just unacceptable. The Patriots defense is not that damn good. Absolutely not. We're not letting that slide that, they had CJ Stroud so rattled. No, these were some point blank passes. I'm talking receivers just going on a basic out route and CJ Stroud can't even get it to his wide receiver. He's throwing it behind him, which is leading to an interception. Nah, man, this was bad. And the sad part about this game is the fact that although CJ Stroud threw 4 interceptions, this game was still a lot closer than what the score reflects. The Texans still had a chance to stay in striking distance and actually, if CJ Stroud was on his game, almost possibly win a game. Like, they still stayed in striking distance, but it was just unacceptable, man. I can't accept it. And then for the Patriots, I just got to say, look, so it's on record. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm above, hating because I mean, hey, I'm regular too. I have the right to hate on a team if I want to. And aside from me being a hater on the New England Patriots, I truly, truly think this team is just so fraudulent, man. The Patriots are so fraudulent. They've had easy matchup after easy matchup all season long in the regular season. Then they go to the playoffs and they have easy matchup after easy matchup after easy matchup. Like, come on, man. Like, the Patriots are flawed. They don't do anything in the game that's just genuinely wowing me every time I watch them play. It's a very basic play style from them, which is on brand for the Patriots, but I'm not seeing anything where I'm like, oh man, they're gonna kill this next team doing this, or they're gonna murder it. They're really good at certain things, don't get me wrong, but I'm not seeing anything that they're just so spectacular at where they're going to dominate whoever their next opponent is when they finally play some competition. And we see their next game is going to be against the Broncos, but it's not going to be Bo Nix. So this Patriots team, they just continue to get break after break after break, and they're fraudulent, man. I genuinely just think this team is very fraudulent, and I have no faith in them. I don't think they'll end up being solid at all. And then the last game here just crazy, was the LA Rams and the Chicago Bears. What a game. Just what a game. Like, I need to take a second because that's how good this game was. It was a very defensive game between the Bears and the Rams. Obviously, it wasn't a crazy high-scoring game or anything like that. A very defensive game. And I actually genuinely enjoyed it, watching this defensive masterpiece from both sides of the ball. The Bears defense stood tall, came to play, and the Rams defense stood tall, came to play. We seen some crucial stops on fourth down from the LA Rams, and this ultimately led them to winning the game. But man, I mean, from quarterback play of Stafford and just being dialed in on a game-winning drive in overtime, and then seeing Caleb Williams just throw up. I mean, this magic that they had all season, it clearly ran out, but just how entertaining. Caleb Williams throwing a 50-yard bomb after just running backwards and just throwing a 50-yard bomb for a touchdown and send it to overtime. Just nuts. It was just nuts. And also the thing here, okay, so I know, Caleb Williams, masterpiece throws. Insane throws. He's been doing it all postseason. Some of the best throws that some of us have seen in our childhood and or I ain't even gonna say that. Some of the best throws that a lot of us have seen in the NFL in general. So I don't even want to discredit what he's been doing. However, in this game against the Rams, you cannot not win a ball game throwing 3 interceptions. Absolutely not. And especially one of those interceptions being in overtime. Now, you can sit here, blame DJ Moore if you want to. You can blame Caleb Williams if you want to. Either way, if you blame DJ Moore, it don't matter because Caleb Williams still threw 2 other interceptions earlier in the game. Blame whoever it is. It does not matter. That cannot happen as a team in terms of making mistakes. So I'm not blaming Caleb Williams. I'm not blaming DJ Moore. I'm not blaming all the other receivers. I'm just saying that can't happen as a team when you're playing against an elite team like the LA Rams, who have the experience, who have the talent, and have the offensive ability to score and win the ball game on a game-winning drive, just as they did. So, it was a great game. I loved it, but ultimately, man, wow, I was thoroughly impressed, and it was just a great game. And it's scary that Ben Johnson did this in his first year with the Bears. But, hey, as I always say, offseason comes and everybody gets better. It's not just the teams in the postseason. A lot of teams that didn't make the postseason also get better. So as guys get new coordinators, new coaches, there's plenty of coaches that's going to be moved around. We'll see what happens. Trades are going to happen. Free agents, all of these different things. So we'll see what happens. And other than that, though, man, look, that's all I got for you guys. So I appreciate you for tuning in. Hit us up on IG at The Run Podcast, Facebook at The Run Podcast, TikTok at The Run Podcast, YouTube, The Run with Manny Wilson, and Twitter at Podcast The Run. And I'm going to leave on a positive note. The positive note today is just going to be as simple as health is wealth, man. Health is wealth. Be healthy. Take care of yourself. Do what you got to do mentally, physically, spiritually. Health is wealth. I'll leave it at that. Other than that, man, that's all I got. So I appreciate you for tuning in, and we will be back later on this week, and so on and so on and so on.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.